Hey there, welcome to the channel. As promised, I got the gang stalking series for you. We're going to get into it and see what gang stalking is all about. But first, a disclaimer page. Definitely don't want to trigger anyone, so please heed the disclaimer and trigger warning before proceeding if you're sensitive to these type of topics. All right, let's get right into it. Gang stalking, what is it? A quote by Joe Pierre, MD, says, "It is the act of being followed, surveilled, harassed, and otherwise victimized." And as you see there, I included the link to an article on psychologytoday.com to his specific article where he states that quote. And I have to say that I actually agree with it. At the end of the day, gang stalking is just meant to make someone feel uncomfortable, uneasy, maybe a little paranoid, some would say, but it's just taking being a creeper to the ultimate level, and you just essentially invited your friends or maybe even enlisted some help with some strangers to help you pull it off. Now, when it comes to the reasoning behind or the motives behind, that can differ, and we'll definitely get into that in later videos, but yeah, you really, really just gotta be careful. Now, when it comes to the mark, well, the mark in this case would be yourself or whomever is finding themselves being the targeted. They'll be referred to as a targeted individual, or TI for short, or the victim. And that's just another way of just saying you're the person that all of those tactics are being used against. It's never fun being that person. I'm speaking from experience and I know what that feels like, but it is a real thing to become a targeted individual. And some of the reasons that you could become a targeted individual is pretty wild. It could be some of the simplest of reasons to some that are ultimately complex. All right, so some of those reasons I was telling you guys about, the motivations of a gang stalker, could range from jealousy, envy, retaliation, infatuation. And these, again, are just a handful of reasons. I'm sure there are many, many more, but the ones that I've listed are some that I believe I experienced personally. And, I just wanted to break those down a little bit. So, jealousy wouldn't be just your run of the mill, like, oh, I like your Jordans, so I'm going to hate on you just because you got the shoes I don't want, or excuse me, that I want. It could be anything from your light that you carry. You consider yourself a chosen and you just have a real positive, good aura about yourself. And you notice every time you go around certain individuals, they start moving funny, start acting funny towards you. But when they're around all these other lower vibrational people, they all happy and cool. But as soon as you show up, it's like you're like the party pooper, so to speak. And and that can be a little weird because you're like, bro, I'm showing up being myself. I'm just chilling. I ain't messing with nobody. I ain't doing nothing. But people can be envious and jealous, or excuse me, jealous of stuff like that. And then on a more physical level, it could be, oh, well, you dating a dude that I like or whatever, like just little stupid petty stuff like that. Envy is where they hate on you, but they might smile and kiki in your face, but low key they hate on you. And I came up with a saying when it comes to envy that they laugh at you first, then they hate, but then they turn right around and imitate what you do. So they laugh, they hate, they imitate. That is envy to its core. A person will sit there and make fun of you for the very thing that they like about you. Maybe not you, but they like it. They like whatever it is that they're envious of that you possess. And then they will do their best to imitate it. And when they figure out that they can't pull it off the same way you pull it off, then they hate. Or excuse me, I said that in reverse. They hate you first, and then they turn around and try to imitate it. But then again, they can't pull off the same things like you pull off. So they hate you for it. All right? Could be something as simple as that. If you're out in town, like I've seen it with like Tesla owners, people go around keying random Tesla owners' cars, and it's like, for what though? Like even if you don't like the car or the brand or the maker of the car or whatever, why go and mess up somebody's property? You know what I'm saying? And I believe that's low key envy. Like it ain't because these people like, oh, might say, oh, Tesla owners are snobby or whatever, because I've heard that being said too. But it's like, no, like you just envious, you just hating because that person or those people can afford a vehicle that you probably can't. And instead of just bossing up and doing what you got to do to get out there and go get your own Tesla, you rather just envy them. You rather hate on them and try to ruin their property, which is wrong. When it comes to retaliation, it could be for, again, numerous reasons. You might have a not so secret enemy, who maybe y'all had a disagreement about something, and you thinking, oh, they ain't spoke to me, I ain't spoke to them. You think you good, but at the end of the day, they secretly in the shadows plotting on how they can get their get back, and or for being a truth teller, which I know about that all too well. I People like to hate on me because I'm the type of person that I'm gonna give you the truth. No watered down, no sugarcoat, no none of that. And you'd be surprised that the truth is almost appalling these days to people. Like it's so offensive to people. They rather be coddled by a lie than to hear the truth. And they'll turn around and hate you for it. Like not to compare myself to Jesus or nothing, but I kind of get what he went through. You know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of wild to have to experience something else like that for simply just speaking the truth. And then lastly, infatuation. Infatuation is where someone might be, feeling you on a romantic level. They are enamored by you, they like you, but for whatever reason, they won't just either come out and let you know, and or they might have the courage to come out and let you know and you reject them for whatever reason. If you're married or if you're already in a relationship or you just not feeling them that way. So all of that quote unquote love, which is really lust, that they feeling towards you, now they're using it as energy to weaponize against you to take you down just because you won't have them. Because some people, let me correct myself, a vast majority of people struggle with rejection. And I believe that comes from a place of not loving oneself first. Because how you gonna dislike someone simply because you're not their cup of tea? There are a lot of people in this world, you're not their cup of tea, and that's okay. Like when you truly value yourself, you know that you're not for everyone. I know that about myself. That's why when people be acting funky and phony around me and turning up, they know I don't even take it personal anymore because I know I'm not everyone's cup of tea. Everyone can't handle what I bring. And so, infatuation is a wild reason to turn around and want to gang stalk somebody. But again, people do it each and every day. I don't know if any of you have ever had a chance to watch that series on Netflix called Baby Reindeer. Very good series. Like I enjoyed that series a lot because it really, really tapped into how unstable some people can become with a person in their life and just watching a person's routine, their every move. You know what shirt they gonna wear that day, you know what drink they like. It's like how you know this much about a person. You're basically studying this person like it's your job, and it's weird. It's weird, but that series was something. I'll tell you that. If you haven't had a chance to watch it, if it's still on Netflix, I recommend you watch it. If you don't have Netflix, I recommend you find a way, go to a cousin house, somebody, go watch it, please, because it definitely falls into the territory of gang stalking, even though it was orchestrated by just one major stalker. But still, a lot of the tactics that that person deployed are some of the ones I'm going to be discussing in this series. Also, with infatuation, you're dealing with the fact that this person is secretly a fan of yours. So this doesn't always have to be a romantic gesture type of situation. It could simply be, you know, a group of mean girls who every time they see you coming around, all of a sudden they're, you know, name calling you, making fun of what you got on, all this other stuff, and or grown women a lot of times participate in these activities, which is really sad. But they could be hating on you because they secretly like something about you that they lack within themselves. So instead of again working on that within themselves to attain that for themselves, they rather just hate on you for it. But secretly they're a fan. They may not ever come up to you and be like, hey, like low key, I'm sorry for being a hater because I just really like your swag, but they're gonna turn around in secret and be, you know, shoot, may even have a shrine to you or something. You never know. People are so weird these days, but don't let stuff like that worry you because I would say they would be of the lesser dangerous variety of gang stalker. I'm not saying that it couldn't get dangerous. Always keep your guard up. I don't care whichever type of gang stalker you're dealing with, but definitely understand that not all of their obsessions about you is like a negative. Sometimes it's a compliment. They just don't know how to go about telling you these things. And I'm not saying that that's your job to sit here and figure out what these people want from you because at the end of the day, if a grown person can't just vocalize how they feel or what they want or their intentions, then no, you don't owe anyone anything to, you know, placate their emotions or their ego or whatever. Like if let your no's be no and your yeses be yeses, you know, don't leave people on or nothing like that. But understand that infatuation specifically is not always a romantic situation. um, Thinking about an example for myself, something that I personally experienced, um, I can tell you now that coming from the place that my family and I moved from, which was San Diego, California, we were living within a off-base military housing development. And I'm sure some of you already know some of the stigmas and all that about dependas and essentially is like a not so nice term that people call military spouses. And again, that could be men as well as females, but it's oftentimes geared towards the wives or the females. And these women would always be like gathered together outside my home, well, in their own home, or I'd say more so their driveway, just ganged up, you know, talking to each other. Just I'm assuming gossiping because to the untrained eye, it doesn't look like anything more than just a couple of neighbors gathering together, hanging out, right? But that's not, in my case, that's not what it was always was. These people or these women specifically were watching me and my family's every move when we come, when we go, what we wearing. There's been days I come out the house and some of these people wearing the same thing I got on, or they're wearing the same colors as me, and it's like I'm the type of person that I don't believe in coincidences. I don't know how these people were able to figure out this type of stuff about me, but they were. And you know, and it's like when it's a level of infatuation of that level, like yeah, it gets a little weird. And at first, yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you, I was annoyed by it. I was annoyed as fuck about it because I'm the type of person like I live a life where I feel like I'm a pretty boring person. I feel like I don't do anything that's extraordinary that should warrant all this extra attention. As a matter of fact, I don't really like excessive attention, but I always find myself in the middle of being the center of attention, whether it be good or bad, which in my case is mostly on the negative side, or at least from what I've experienced. And yeah, it really bogs me down. But anyway, these ladies, I will say, really just took their level of infatuation with me and my family just to a whole nother level. They would, I would be in my little yard area just playing with my kids or watching my children play, and they be literally sitting across the street in their driveway just watching me and my family, like grown women sitting in between each other's laps and stuff. Like it was just weird. It was weird. Almost like we were a zoo exhibit. Like that's how weird, things was. And again, for those of you who don't know, I am a black woman, so called. So it's like it made me feel hella uncomfortable because I'm like, in all my lifetime, I have never experienced anything like that. I never thought I would become a targeted individual. But as the series goes on, I'm hoping to reveal more into why I believe I became a targeted individual of these, initial groups of people. Because sad to say that I was not just being, targeted by these specific young ladies, but it grew to be a whole plethora of people. And like I stated earlier, yes, unfortunately, most of these people were fellow military members, as well as their family members and other neighbors in the neighborhood, and even their children and animals. Yeah, yeah, I know that sounds real wild. And I wish it wasn't true, but it is the truth. It literally was my life for the last almost year and a half. And so, that's why when I talk about where we are currently, like it's so much more peaceful. I'm not experiencing any of that at the moment. I pray that I don't have to continue to experience that. I pray that if anyone out there is experiencing anything similar to what I'm telling you, I hope that you're able to find a way out. I hope that you're able to get free. But ultimately, gang stalking is real, guys. Like, and we're gonna, as the series goes on, we're gonna talk more and more about examples of it and what that looks like. And I'm also, gonna supply you guys with tools to help yourself protect yourself. So stay tuned. But I hope you enjoyed this first video. Just kind of getting our toes wet here. So if you want to learn more, you want to hear more about my stories, stick around. And until then, see ya.